Firstly, the word fusion itself is a very difficult word to understand, as in what is fusion. Artistic expression is a much more correct word. The word fusion just makes people's ideas, their inner inspiration, it just makes it very small. Fusion can dilute the art form if the fusion is done in replacement of those art forms. If fusion is going to be done and called Bharatnatyam, if fusion is going to be done and called Odyssey, then it's diluted, it's gone. But if people have a need to express themselves, to say something that they are not able to express in whatever style they have chosen, because of their own inability to go very deep in their style also. These styles have enough depth in them to let you express whatever you want to. But not everybody is able to go that deep in it, because somebody came late into the art form, or somebody has not found the correct kind of training, whatever the reasons. Reasons can be many. Basic thing is, people will still go out of this art form and want to do something to express themselves. So they are free to do that. Just don't call that Odyssey, don't call that Bharatnatyam, don't call it Mohiniyattam. What these are, let them stay the way they are. Because these styles are not stagnating. It's not like it's some kind of a museum piece that we take out, we brush out of the cupboard, we see, we show it some light, and then we put it back in darkness. These are styles which are as contemporary and as evolving as any other contemporary dance. These dance styles, where constantly there's new compositions happening, new thought coming in, older research is being done, newer research is being done, music is being composed. There's so much constantly happening. It is new, it is evolving, it's not stagnating at all. In fact, Odyssey has gone into such a bomb blast. It's all around the world. You go to you go to Timbuktu, you'll find an Odyssey dancer there. People are doing Odyssey. Of course, there's all kinds of Odyssey. There are many who do Odyssey dance tourism. I call it Odyssey dance tourism. So they go to India, they learn a piece or two, and then they go back. Then they'll buy the music. Then they'll put on their tiny bikinis and their idea of whatever the idea is of the Indian classical dance costume, and then to that they do half-baked dancing and they call it Odyssey. So there is all kinds of stuff happening. But there are also people who go to India and they start learning very deeply, and they stay in the country for God knows how many years, just trying to perfect that art. And after 10, 12 years, they go back to their main countries and they start teaching there. There are those kind of people also who are very deeply involved. So there is a place for everything and everyone in this world. And we are nobody to judge them. So if somebody wants to do a kind of an artistic expression which one could call fusion, it is up to them. I cannot be the authority on dance and say this is not right. And who is an authority on dance? Who was born with the authority on dance? Nobody. Nobody has the authority to say anything. It is not about authority. It is about everybody having their freedom of expression. But of course, as long there is propriety. Propriety is Odyssey is a very specific style. Bharatnatyam is a specific style. That style has to remain within its specific, natural encasement, and it should not be abused. And those who want to do fusion, they are welcome to do it. For me, myself, I just can explain it. I've given you this example before, that chalk has its own purpose. You need it to write on the blackboard, you need it to give education. On our instruments, when our pegs of the veena, they get loose, we use the chalk to make it tight and we put it. Chalk has its own this thing. Cheese is wonderful to eat. We enjoy it, we make so many dishes. But if you're going to tell me put chalk and cheese together and eat it, I can't do that. So for me, that is my explanation of how that does not work for me. But that is me. It is not others. Everybody is welcome to do what they want to. My opinion about this comes from the fact that I have tried. I can't call it fusion, I'm not ready. I have never ever diluted my art form. I have never done Odyssey half Odyssey, or suddenly done Odyssey and broken out into some kind of another kind of a this thing. I've never done that. Whatever I've done, I have stayed very true to my art form. But yes, I have worked with other art forms alongside my own art form. And maybe that could be called fusion. But I don't really think it is fusion in that sense. I have worked with my husband Arjun, where he did he created a play called Magikar. He's a Kathakali dancer as well, and he did this play on Othello and Midsummer Night's Dream, and he brings in these small bits and parts from those plays, and he does it in his Kathakali style, and I play the female characters as Desdemona, and I do it in my Odyssey style. I dance Odyssey there. That was one. Then I did something with an Italian singer. We worked on the Ashtapadis, and I sang and performed my own Ashtapadis. So, because in the temples, the Maharis, in the evening, they used to sing and enact out the Ashtapadis. There was no separate singer for the Maharis and the Mahari then dancing to words that are being... The Mahari herself sang it, so the dancers were singers as well. They could sing. In the last, we translated one of the last Ashtapadis into Italian, and she did it in her, she composed that last piece in her own way, and I danced to it, where she was leading and she was singing, but the language was Italian. But it was the translation of the last Ashtapadi, and this collaboration came out of a need. But it was very interesting doing it. The need was, there was a World Poetry Week in Melbourne at Federation Square, and we were asked to do something together. So I was wanting to try out the singing of the Ashtapadis and performing it, and so somehow created this piece. It was great fun. We enjoyed it, but I cannot make that my life calling of life, my calling in life. The audience loved to see the piece, and they were very mesmerized by it, and they were very inspired by the poetry, the beauty of the words that Kavisha had then translated and sung. There was a lot of Italian crowd there as well. So the people loved it. Of course, people will love it. They will like it. Question is, do I love it? Earlier, when a dancer used to, an Indian classical dancer, when she used to dance in India, it is still done. Not all do that, is the dancer would just go on stage and perform. She wouldn't speak. There would be an announcer who would give a background about the dancer, about what is going to be performed. So the dancer was almost like a gungi gudiya, deaf and dumb. She, wonderful artist, but somewhere I think it was almost removing the dancer from the real world in a way. Now, nowadays that doesn't happen. There are dancers who come up on stage and they speak directly to the audience. And I do that. And I learned to do that with much more confidence and greater skill here in Australia, because there was a greater need to explain my art form to them. Also, I wanted to de-exoticize myself. Indian classical dancers, in some parts of the world, it's almost an exotic thing, and it's not nice to feel exoticized. And when you come out on the stage and you speak directly to the audience, they can see you, the human being, the person you are. I crack my poor jokes, and I speak to them in their language. They can see I'm a person just like them. And then when I, from my own perspective, as Monica explaining the art form, when I speak to them, there is a deeper connection, because they see the human being first and then they see the art. And then when they see the art, they are already connected, because they are seeing Monica doing that art form which moves her deeply. The connection is already formed. So dancers speaking directly to their audience is very important, is what I feel.